We are, of course, watching out for the IEC event today at 4 p.m. and ET Now is your destination for that. But market Fatafat, and we are also watching out for all the big movers and shakers in trade that's keeping the markets very active on the first day of a brand new series, which has, well, kick-started on a bit of a boring note. We have with us today on the technicals Mandar Jamsandekar of Precision Technical Analysis, and in our research team we have Soumya and Varun. So good morning to all of you. Thank you for joining in. And let's kickstart the show with one sector that's really posting a nice big bounce. In fact, it's the top sectoral gainer today in trade. All the constituents of the metal index are gaining very, very smartly. So that's certainly something to watch out for. However, before we kickstart the show, remember that we at ET Now have been staring, or rather we in India have been staring at a bit of a sluggish move coming in the equity market. So here are some of the top market voices on ways to cope with the ongoing sell-off.
With what's going on with the continued uncertainty with the US and China trade talks or lack of talks, oil obviously, there's still a lot of uncertainty in the Middle East going on. So the global backdrop, US interest rates, etc., is not helpful. I've said before, I do believe emerging markets in general are quite well positioned this time around compared to prior periods of slowdown. But clearly, in risk-off events, we had seen quite a bit of foreign money coming into India just prior to the election. I think there was a bit of profit taking, so some of that is reversed back out. And it's interesting to see if you look at foreign holdings in certain categories, we're at levels we haven't seen since 2012. So foreigners have they put a little bit of money in just before the election. And then I think all they hear now is clearly, what the slowdown, consumption slowdown, what's going on in the auto sector. And so it's not good news that we're hearing from the outside, and people are just, with a risk-averse nature, they're pulling back. The reality is this will probably take some time to work through. It's obviously been quite a brutal slowdown, particularly in the auto space. And, you don't recover that quickly without, perhaps more stimulus from the government, which you could argue scrappage policy, all sorts of other policies, which I think the street was hoping for. So I think the government is in a constrained space. I think they are trying to do as much as they can. And that's why I say, if they can do, they're obviously doing as much as they can, as I said, but it's a confidence issue. And once confidence and sentiment stabilizes and turns, I think that's the key, and unfortunately that'll probably take a little bit of time. This is not going to be, I think, in reality, a very quick rebound. When it comes, it's going to be probably quite a slow rebound.
See, clearly these are steps in the right direction, and the way it has been done, for example, by increasing depreciation temporarily on auto and giving a lot of capital to the public sector banks. These kind of steps, I think, are extremely positive. See, if you look at where maximum pessimism is priced, it is clearly in credit. If you look at it, every one of the debt mutual funds of our company have done well over the last 1 year, and despite lot of noises and lot of downgrades. So the reality is that in India, a single A credit paper still gives you 10.5%, which makes it an extremely attractive asset class. But because sentiment is so negative, there is only outflow in that asset class, and it is the most attractive asset class because it meets all my requirements, valuations being attractive and sentiment being very negative because you have huge outflow. We think in a period where the economy is not growing very fast, and we think that utilities and dividend yield stocks are two very, very interesting areas. When I put that contrarian hat, I prefer sectors where there has been no return for 12 years. And today that is the situation in a bulk of corporate sectors. The reality is India has got divided into two areas, one related to anything to consumption, where there has been a 10-year bull run and 1 year, maybe you can call it slowdown, bear run, whatever it is, and anything not connected to consumption which has had a 12-year no return, I believe that there are clearly mouth-watering opportunities on the 12-year no return areas. Sectors like power have lesser problems because you don't even have a situation of a tariff war. You have steady increase in demand. You've got now electric vehicles also coming to add the demand. So I think sectors like power look much better because you don't have the disruption that you see in some of the other sectors. So I would say that there are equally interesting sectors other than telecom at this point of time.
Okay, well, let's get back to market Fatafat then, and let's start off with the very first sector that we have our eyes out on, and that is the metal space. All the stocks over there in that index are gaining smartly, right from Tata Steel, which has finally managed to buck that losing trend, Vedanta, Hindalco, all of them are seeing a nice up move. Now, there are several reasons. Hindalco, of course, is gaining on account of various media reports talking about, possibly that there is that EU approval that's going to come through very soon. However, China has tried to calm all that trade war tensions that have currently been on the minds of a lot of market participants. They are saying that they're willing to go back on the negotiating table. But again, there's been a lot of to and fro between China and US on this particular topic, naturally, in the last 1.5 odd year. Nevertheless, still you are seeing some sections of the market react to any sort of commentary from the US and China, where it's negative or positive, and that's what we are seeing today as well. Metal prices as well in the LME and in the Chinese bourses have bounced, and you are seeing the Nifty metal gain, although it's come off very sharply from the day's high. Mandar, talking about metals, NMDC snapping that losing streak. What are you observing?
Mubina, good morning. NMDC is trading on long-term supports. So this level of 75 is an important level for the stock. Currently trades at 81. So trading on long-term supports, therefore quite possibly we could see a bounce back. But again, there is a resistance at levels of 84, 84.50, which needs to be broken for the stock to see a sustained up move.
1.5% higher for iron ore major NMDC. But Soumya, ICRA and, along with CARE Ratings, both these rating agency companies had given a notice of sorts to the MD and CEO, and now ICRA has gone one step forward.
Well, yes, they've indeed gone one step forward, and they've sacked the MD and CEO Naresh Thakkar on allegations of misconduct during his tenure. Well, in their press release, they did even mention that they have started with the search of the new MD and CEO, but as of now, what we're learning is Vipul Agarwal, who is the interim CEO and was appointed in July 1, would assume the responsibilities for the day-to-day operation until the new CEO is appointed. But however, we're seeing a sharp reaction coming in the stock prices, and it's losing close to about 2.7%.
Okay, 27.10 for ICRA's share price right now. Varun, what's the news when it comes to SBI?
So SBI has decided to IPO its credit card business. It's the second largest credit card business, second only to HDFC. Now, the shareholding stands 76% ownership lies with SBI and 24% lies with Carlyle PE. Carlyle has a history of partnering with PSUs. It is partnered with SBI Life and with PNB Housing. Now, the quantum for the raise and valuation is unknown, but I'll be walking you through some of that later on in the day once we get more data.
All right, credit card business IPO for SBI is something that's on their radar. I was just talking about the metal space and how you're seeing a bit of a bounce, and that was witnessed in crude as well. Brent, which remember the last 2-3 days has managed to reclaim 60 against the barrel, has in fact managed to stay at that level. Yes, we did see a blip yesterday, but nevertheless today once again it's bounced back and it continues to stay about $60 per barrel. So you are naturally going to see a bit of a decline come by in OMCs. So HPCL, BPCL, all of them are losing in trade. And just as we are seeing with the rest of the markets, the selling pressure over here as well in these stocks has accelerated. HPCL certainly is trading at the day's low. And Mandar, another stock that continues to be on the losing side is IB Housing. Anything you'd recommend here?
Mubina, yes, Indiabulls Housing has been in a downtrend for the last few months, and what has happened is if you look at the last 1 year of chart, the stock had a support around those levels of 580 and 620, and that was broken during the month of July. So since then we have seen more weakness coming into the stock. Now at current levels the stock trades at 440. There is an important support at levels of 425, 420. So that has to be watched very closely, because if that breaks, then the stock could fall very sharply to levels of 350, even 330 is possible. So therefore watch this support level of 425, 420 closely today and even in the next week. If that holds on, then that's fine. If that breaks, and if you have long positions, then it's time to square off.
Okay. So Mandar is quite circumspect on the future prospects of the stock price of IB Housing, and he believes that it could fall to a level of 350 as well from this 440 that it's currently trading at. Soumya, CG Power, yesterday the company announced that they will be ousting the chairman after a whole host of, especially that conference call that it held. And looks like the stock's reacting positively to that news.
Well, yes, indeed, that's the stock movement that we're seeing after the board has removed chairman Gautam Thapar, and this decision comes on the back of the probe that flagged off financial and governance issues at the company. However, the chairman and the businessman continues to deny the charges of fraud that are levied against him. But clearly, the stock price is and the street is definitely looking positive when it comes to this new development that's taking place in CG Power.
We're locked in upper circuit, that's CG Power for you. Let's just take a quick glance at what the RWI small case is up to at this juncture, and as the market comes off the day's high and is once again trading in the red, you are seeing a similar move come by for the RWI small case as well. Still, however, holding on above 520, it's down by about 0.16%. We'll do one thing, we'll take a quick breather right here on Market Fatafat. Do come right back as we'll flag off more stocks in news and movers and shakers. Well, for now, let's just come back to Market Fatafat, where we are talking about individual stocks, and let's continue that countdown. Varun, Bharti Infratel, the geo impact seen for this tower company as well.
Right, Mabina. So nothing specific to pinpoint today, but it's been downward pressure for Bharti Infratel, as Jio now is the largest tower, or had set up the largest tower network. This network was then offloaded to Brookfield, another PE player, which is looking to obviously increase utilization and will offer these towers to Vodafone and Idea, which ultimately steals business from Infratel. Hence, we've been seeing downward pressure on the stock for some time now.
Well, yeah, this is not the only day where we are seeing a fall in Bharti Infratel. It slips considerably, of course, as you can see, from the 300 odd range. Okay, another pack that's a bit weakish today in trade is the IT space. Now, of course, we do know that this is also a result of the fact that the technology space has been fairly resilient. If we have to look at what happened in the markets overall, and you are seeing that bit of correction come by after seeing so many days of a decline. However, we did have today's ET reporting that some technology names, and they're naming HCL Tech and Cognizant, both of them, may feel the pain of US opioid lawsuits. Now, some of these companies, these opioid painkillers are essentially clients of HCL Tech, and in the midst of these US lawsuits, they could have to possibly face bankruptcy. That in turn may hurt HCL Tech, obviously, because they do have a big chunk of their clients in the space, and hence you are seeing perhaps a bit of a decline come by in the stock price of some of these IT companies. Mandar, the fall in Yes Bank continues. What levels would you be watching out for? I mean, if we have to perhaps put a cap to the kind of losses we are seeing, do you think we could be seeing that anytime soon? Because there's been an unabated fall and it's continued for so many days.
Yes, Mubina, you've rightly put it. The stock has been falling for the last 1 year, so from levels of 400 to the current levels of 55, 56. Now at current levels, the stock is trading on important supports and important long-term supports. So that is a positive in this stock. So if you look at the last 10, 12 years of chart, then you'll find that the level that the stock trades at, that is between 45 and 57. This band has acted as a resistance and also has acted as a support in the past. So it's a very important level that the stock trades at currently, and therefore I think the fall that the stock has witnessed in the last few days should be able to be arrested or will stop at these levels. The stock may create a base at these levels between 45 and 57. So I don't expect a big fall immediately in the stock. Watch these support levels. Upside for now is going to be limited. So upside, not major kind of upside, all moves to levels of 65, 70 would face resistance. But yes, the downfall should be able to stop.
Okay, downfall should be able to stop, but then, upside is also limited at 65 odd rupees is what Mandar believes the stock could rebound to if it does and when it does. Samya, Griha Finance, big block deal this morning.
Well, yes, 27 lakh shares were traded in a block deal today in the pre-market hours. But the likely seller is HDFC, given the fact they have, as per RBI's direction, they have to reduce their holding to around 9.9 or less in the merged entity of Gruhu and Bandhan. So the likely seller in this case is definitely HDFC, and that's the latest when it comes to the bulk deal, and of course the merger between Gruhu and Finance, and of course the involvement of HDFC also.
Right, it's 4.5% higher for Griha Finance in trade. Mandar, Vedanta, we did see the stock rise yesterday and today as well. It continues its upward momentum. However, again, it's completely off the day's high. Your view?
Mubina, see, Vedanta right now is on the short-term chart is stuck in a very small range. So 140 and 147 is a resistance for the stock, and on the downside, 130 and 125 is a support for the stock. Now the levels that from where the stock has managed to bounce, that is the recent low around 125, is an important long-term support. So not much of a downside from current levels, but again the upsides would be limited to 140, 147. If the stock has to witness a sustained up move or a big move to the next resistance between 170, 180, then this resistance at 147 has to be broken. So this is the level which one needs to watch. So if one's thinking of getting into a long trade, I would suggest you wait for this resistance to be broken. Once that breaks, then maybe you take a view.
Okay, Vedanta, by the way, has just slipped into the red. It's now actually down 0.25%. Varun, United Spirits, what does MK have to say? And plus, we did have that news as well, I think yesterday or day before, where a lot of bars in Delhi may have to now dispose of liquor that's been lying for a certain number of days. How negative is the entire scenario for UNSP right now?
Yeah, Mubina, as you rightly pointed out, the new legislation should definitely create some hurdles for United Spirits. But barring that, MK has a sell note on the stock with a target price of 560. Now, this is primarily on increased competition. USL's primary competition, Pernod Ricard, is experiencing extremely good growth in India, and that's a concern for USL. FY19 results indicate stronger growth as opposed to USL. For example, Pernod India sales grew at 14% and 20% in FY18 and 19, which are a few basis points ahead of USL. Results also point out to market share losses for USL in the P&A portfolio. All these seem to be the overhang on the stock currently.
All right, for now it's gaining. It's 0.8% higher at 619. Okay, Lupin, there's an antitrust litigation that's claiming $10 billion from three companies. Lupin is one of them, and the suit, claims that firms have delayed generic competition. This is against Valiant and Lupin. Stock price is falling about 1.25%. But with that, we're out of time on this edition of Market Fatafat. So Mandar, Soumya and Varun, thank you for joining us on this show. We'll be back with a new edition at 1:30. Until then, keep tuning in and keep watching ET Now.